join me in welcoming Dr. Homiyar Mobedji here. I'll just, like I did yesterday, I'm going to read out a bit about him so that we have a very honorable person who is going to talk about assistive technology today. Dr. Homiyar is a disability expert and is currently the regional representative for Benetech, a technology-driven organization. Homiyar heads the operations for Benetech in India, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and Africa. He was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa at the tender age of 4, but he did not allow this to ever hinder his progress. So he qualified as a physiotherapist, ran his own clinic for 24 years, and then focused his attention towards helping other people with disabilities. He works with publishers and conversion vendors to develop accessible content for Bookshare, a content sharing website. He has mastered the use of assistive technology. And today he is with us to share these concepts in layman's terms to help us use this technology in our daily lives. So welcome, Dr. Homiyar, and the floor is yours now.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much, Reena, for inviting me. I'll be joined by my colleague as we go through this session. His name is Sanjog. He joins us from Pune. Currently, I'm speaking to you from Ahmedabad. So welcome all of you to this little interaction. And the purpose of this interaction is to understand the power of technology. What technology brings today in the life of a person with print disability. So I'm going to expand on this word print disability first and then go on. Because most of us who use technology would fall under this category of print disability. So print disability is simply a term which includes everyone who cannot read standard printed text or have difficulty in accessing standard printed text. So these would include, obviously, the first word that would come to your mind is visually impaired, low vision. But there's a huge population of learning disabled who are also included in this category. People with dyslexia, people with learning issues, reading issues. There are others who have got issues with their hands, who cannot hold a printed book in their hand because of their dexterity issues, people with cerebral palsy. All these are print disabled individuals. And all of us have one common barrier, and that is somewhere we find it difficult to read. There are different coping mechanisms. Some people fare better with their impairment. Some people struggle with their impairment, depending upon its severity. But more than the severity, when we talk about print disability, and especially in the learning disabled world, the world of dyslexia, which is a hidden disability, I would start with the word acceptance. Because everything begins with acceptance. And unfortunately, in the world of learning disabled, because your disability is not seen to the rest of the world, our general reaction, our general intention is to hide our disability. Even parents sometimes encourage children to hide their disabilities because they are not able to accept the disability of their children. And that is a very vicious cycle. Because the parents don't accept it, the children don't accept it. Because the children don't accept it, they don't understand fully how they can be a part of the mainstream society. And that starts a chain reaction where this child starts struggling. And this is generally seen in our education system. Today, when we are talking to parents and counselors and teachers and heads of organizations, and some students on this call, Yes, you have come through the system. You have gone through your primary, secondary, higher secondary education, and you're entering into a world of higher education. So obviously you have found some way of swimming through this dark world of learning disability. But if you haven't still accepted it, or if you haven't found the right way of coping with it, today is the day to start with it. And that is what we're going to help you do. And technology plays a major role in this. And that is what we're going to show you. So from what I understand from a point of a learning disabled individual, there are many different ways that you struggle. Some people find simple reading difficult. Some people find interpreting certain characters a little difficult. Some people find numbers a little challenging to understand. Some people just cannot focus on the page. Some people find it very easy if the same material is provided to them in an audio-visual format. Some people find it very easy to understand if somebody reads it out to them orally and then presents the material. It becomes easier for them to understand. So there are lots of ways in which people overcome these barriers. But when it comes to higher education, when it comes to a career growth option, when you have a challenge like this, it does help when you are supported by digital tools which can make your reading experience, your writing experience as close to any other non-disabled individual. The same applies to also our visually impaired friends and friends with low vision, because the technology, fortunately, is the same. It's how you use this technology for your advantage remains to be understood. So for this entire process, the entire process of empowerment for print disabled, there are three pillars to this conversation. We have to have all these three pillars in place for an individual with a print disability to benefit out of this magic wand called technology. And these three pillars are content available to you in an accessible digital format. I'm using the word accessible and putting it with a capital and a bold under it. Second is a device to read this digital format. And the third one is training, which is not too difficult, to use these digital tools and the digital content. And we're going to give you a snapshot today. We're going to give you snapshots for how reading can be made so simple, so easy for you. And then we'll leave it to you to come and ask us questions, and we can take that forward. I'm going to leave a lot of time for questions. So let's start with content. Today in this digital world, there's a lot of content which is available digitally. Even if you search on the internet, you'll find a lot of files which are PDF files. You'll be able to download them and read them. But not all digital files are accessible to persons with print disability. That is the sad part. Because if that digital file is not created using proper accessibility guidelines, a person with visual impairment or person with learning disability might not be able to use his device or his tools or his application to understand that content properly. So it all begins from the accessibility point of view of the document. Fortunately, today, there's a huge collection of these accessible documents, and it's an ever-growing collection of these accessible documents. So 10 years back, there was a real shortage. There was a real famine of these documents. But today, fortunately, even if you go to Amazon Kindle, which is probably one of the world's largest source of digital content, you should be able to find content with a tag on it called screen reader enabled. If you just scroll down on that page, which has the book or the title, and if you just scroll down, you'll find that heading, which will say screen reader enabled. So that is an assurance that this title has been designed in such a way that all students or all individuals with a print disability can access that title using their assistive technology. This could be, again, as I said, visual or learning disabled. Anybody would be able to access the same title, as well as non-disabled people. It's not that if it's screen reader enabled, non-disabled cannot access the same title. That is the beauty of it. When a title is made accessible digitally, everyone is included, non-disabled as well as the print disabled. Another source of accessible titles is Bookshare. Bookshare is the world's largest repository of accessible titles as we speak today. It hosts more than 12 lakh accessible titles, and it's an ever-growing collection as Bookshare keeps on adding 8,000 to 10,000 titles every month. And these 12 lakh plus titles are divided into 50 different genres. And all these content is available in more than 35 Indian plus international languages. So whatever is your choice of reading, whatever is the subject, whatever is the language, probably you should find something to read on Bookshare in a very accessible format. So this Bookshare, as I said, is a library specially designed for the print disabled, for people who cannot access standard printed text. So hence, it implies clearly that only people with print disability can become members of this library. It's a closed platform. So if you're not a member of Bookshare, you can still browse the entire collection on Bookshare, but you won't be able to download books if you're not a member of Bookshare. But fortunately, the entire collection of 12 lakh books, if you are a member, is given to you absolutely free of cost. And we'll be putting down all the links in the chat as to how to become a member of Bookshare, where to apply, and what are the required documentation that we require. It's pretty simple. We just require your certification of disability, that you have a print disability. Either it could be blindness or it could be a learning disability. We don't require a government stamped certificate. If you're a learning disabled, even your psychologist or school psychologist can also certify that you have a learning disability, and we accept that. What else do we require for you to be registered on Bookshare? It's just your email ID, because that becomes your username. And then once you apply to Bookshare, within 3 to 4 days, you will receive an email from Bookshare stating that your membership has been approved, subject to terms and conditions. And you will also receive a password in the same email via which you can log in. And we'll show you how to log in and all that during the course of this little presentation. So before we go there, how to log in, let me show you how accessible reading content can become once you use an accessible version of the book. But before I jump there, let me also talk about the devices. The devices are nothing else but your regular smartphone or your desktop or your laptop. We do not require any specialized equipment to read. As print disabled, the technology is all there in your hands. Every person on this call is either joining because he has access to a smartphone or a laptop or a desktop. That means you already have the device. It's a matter of just installing some free software on it, turning on a few settings, and you're ready to go. So Sanjog, my friend from Pune, is going to now share his screen. He is visually impaired. Sorry. And he's going to use screen reading technology, which probably some of you might be familiar with. So you will hear his screen speak. If you are a learning disabled person, you might find that everything written or whatever you see on the screen is being spoken by his screen reader. But concentrate on the main part of it when he opens a book, how easy it is to read. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it right now. I'm going to allow you to see it, and then we are going to discuss what you saw. Sanjog, can you share your screen, please?
Yeah.
Meeting controls, Bookshare and accessible online library.
Yes, I have shared.
Can we
the
start
screen.
with reading a book?
Meeting World War Thorium Social Science India, Thorium Social Science India and Contemporary World I Class 9 Cert document.
So let's read this book with the read aloud functionality, which has been built into this application called Thorium, which is available completely free if you are a Windows 10 user. It's there in the Play Store, in the Windows Store, or you can download it from the website of Thorium. We'll be happy to provide you all the links to all these softwares that we are going to talk about. So let's enjoy this little passage of reading and see what happens. Go ahead.
Speech mode off. Chapter I, The French Revolution. A QR code. On the morning of July 14, 1789, the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. The king had commanded troops to move into the city. Rumors spread that he would soon order the army to open fire upon the citizens. Some 7,000 men and women gathered in front of the town hall and decided to form a people's militia. They broke into a number of government buildings in search of arms. Finally, a group of several hundred people marched towards the eastern part of the city and stormed the fortress prison, the Bastille, where they hoped to find hoarded ammunition. In the armed fight that followed, the commander of the Bastille was killed and the prisoners released, though there were only 7 of them. Yet the Bastille was hated by all.
Pause.
I have paused it.
Yeah. So what did we see? I would encourage 1 or 2 people to unmute themselves, raise their hands, and if Reena and Monica can allow them to speak and share their views as to what did they see and what did they hear.
Yeah.
We saw that there was audio, and also the place was highlighted with the red line following each word,
Brilliant.
which was really helpful.
Great. Any other reaction?
Yeah. Good morning, sir. This is Rajeshwari here, special educator.
Go ahead, please.
Can I?
Yes,
please.
Rajeshwari, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Sir, I could notice here, like, it is very helpful for any child who's having a reading difficulty. We are focusing on the line and the word exactly which the word is being read out by the person, which will be helping the child to understand the word, what is being read out for him. That is what I have been noticed by this activity or by this presentation. It's going to be helping our children who are having definitely the reading difficulty, and will be able to try to understand what exactly the word is meant.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
So let me move on and show you something more. You saw that it could read, it could highlight, and it also read out everything that was there on the screen. Now, obviously, these are the basic things, but there are certain students who have still further requirements, like if the lines are too close to each other, they would still find it difficult. Their focus would shift and they might be not able to focus on that little highlighted line. They get distracted with the line above or the line below. Or there might be students who are a little not so friendly with a certain color, and they would like to change the color of the font, color of the highlight, or if they are not finding the bright screen too helpful, they would like to darken the background so that it becomes easier for them to look at the screen. Or there might be some students with low vision who want to increase the font size. All this is possible. Sanjog, if you can quickly run through the settings, show them a few display settings.
Yeah, sure.
Change them and let them see how different it looks.
Okay. The only thing is whenever my screen reader speaks, I will not be able to hear you all. So whenever it stops, only then please speak.
Yeah, good. You do the demonstration and then we'll allow
Yeah,
people to
okay.
speak.
Speech mode talk.
So I have opened the settings of this application called Thorium Reader.
List with 6 items toggle button not press theme. List with 6 items toggle button not press theme.
The very first setting is theme.
Pressed.
Let's
Pressed.
go inside and see what color options are available to us.
Theme grouping radio button checked. Neutral.
So the default theme that is being used is neutral with white background and black text. But as Sir said, some people might not like this. So
Radio button not checked sepia.
there is another theme called sepia, which makes the background little yellowish or brown. Let's see. Let me apply this.
Checked. Checked. Text top. Toolbar navigation landmark. Finally, a group of several hundred people marched towards the eastern part of the city and stormed the fortress prison, the Bastille, where they hoped to find hoarded ammunition. In the armed fight that followed, the commander of the Bastille was killed and the prisoners released.
Okay. Sorry.
Pressed. List with 6 items toggle button press theme. Theme group, radio button checked, sepia, radio button not checked, out of grouping top, theme, radio button not checked night. Checked. Checked.
The third theme is night.
Finally,
Could
a
you
group of
quickly
several
go to
hundred
line
people marched
settings
towards the
and
eastern
fonts
part of the
also,
city and stormed the fortress
on.
prison,
and then show
the
everything
Bastille,
together?
where they hoped to find hoarded ammunition. In the armed fight that followed, the commander of the Bastille was killed and the prisoners released, though there were only 7 of them. Yet the Bastille was hated.
Okay, so I have made the theme as night, so you can clearly see the difference. The background is black and the text is white.
So if you
Yes,
can
sir.
change the line spacing and a little font together and then show them together in interest of time.
Okay, sure. Let me quickly turn off the read aloud feature.
Out of list out of button skip toolbar list with 6 items button stop text previous stop text to speech dialogue button activate text to speech the fortress prison
Okay.
toolbar navigate list with 6 items toggle button press theme not pressed toggle button not press text pressed font size
So in the text, under the text category, we have font size.
slider to a 100 font toggle button not press spacing
Here is this spacing.
pressed margin slider 1 word spacing
The spacing between 2 words, we have option called word spacing.
slider 0 out of slider words 1 Thorium Social Science India and Contemporary World I Class 9 Cert document
Okay.
Thorium Social Science India and Contemporary World I Class 9 Cert document toolbar paragraph space letter spacing slider 0 word spacing paragraph spacing slider 0 line spacing slider 0 1 3 Thorium Social Science India and Contemporary World I Class 9 toolbar navigation landmark list with 3 items list with main content frame clickable Social Science India graphic 5 7
Okay. So I have increased the word spacing and slight line spacing slightly. Can you see any change? Anybody?
7.
Hello?
Yeah.
Does the screen appear a little different now? Especially if some reading experts or support counselors or resource heads, can you point out, is this a better option for some children if it looks like this?
Anyone?
Let's go back to Rajeshwari, who was there. Rajeshwari, if you can
Yes,
unmute
sir.
and give us your
Yeah,
feedback. Does this look better?
Definitely, it will be helping, sir, because of the space given. There is, when the child is visualizing the words, the space is helping him not to go on to another word.
Great.
But at the same time, the speed of the reader is a bit faster.
That also can be changed.
Yeah. Also, the way it's been, that's it. It's not very appropriate for our Indian students.
Even that can be changed.
Yeah. Okay. Done.
So there's nothing in this technology that cannot be customized. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really
Right.
great.
See, in
for the
interest of
children.
time, we cannot show you everything, but that is where the training, the third component comes in.
Yeah.
And we'll be very happy to support organizations, colleges, resource rooms with more detailed demonstration of whatever we are saying.
Yeah. Sir, is it accessible for special educators as well for us to
absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. That's great, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. There comes one more challenge in this entire story. Not everybody would have a laptop. So people who have joined in using a smartphone would say, what do I do? Can I use the same thing on my smartphone? The answer is yes. Let's quickly show you Sanjog's smartphone. So he will now switch over. Whatever you will see next would be Sanjog's smartphone. And he's going to show you another application called Easy Reader, which is again a free application available both on iOS as well as Android. So depending upon whatever smartphone that you are using, you should be able to open it and read the book very similar to what was shown here. Sanjog, can you quickly show a smartphone?
Here, Thorium, connect row 2, connect window, speech mode off.
Geo, device unlocked, quick step. Envision AI, Easy Reader.
So here it is, the Easy Reader application.
My books. Indian Art and Culture for Civil Service Easy Reader. Indian side menu, My books. Indian Art and Culture for Civil Services and other competitive examination. Indian Art and Culture for Civil Services and other competitive examinations. Loading. Side menu, Indian Art and Culture for Home button. Play pause button, window Easy Reader.
Okay, so I have opened a book called Indian Art and Culture. Here again, I'm using a screen reader because I'm a person with visual impairment. But this application can be used by any person with print disability. So I'm quickly going to press play on this.
Section A, Visual Arts. An abstract figure painted in blue and green. A yellow-colored eye is in the middle. A circular dial-like sculpture. 1. Indian architecture, sculpture and pottery. 2. Access online video related to this chapter. Scan the given QR code here. QR. To be scanned using a device. Introduction. The word architecture is derived from the Latin word tecton, which means builder. When the early man began to build his shelter to live in, the science of architecture started. Sculpture, on the other hand, is derived from Proto-Indo-European pipe root, kel, with pause.
So I have paused it.
Yes. So basically, as you saw, the same sort of highlighting was available here. Even here, you can customize everything that we showed you in Thorium. Sanjog, if you can quickly just show the text settings page.
Yes.
Do not change anything, just go through it, that these are the options.
More option. Audio settings. Text settings. Text settings. Text settings. Navigate up button.
So here is the page of text settings. There is font size, spacing, line spacing, word spacing, different highlight options, different color schemes.
So as you see, everything that we saw on your computer in the app Thorium is also available right here. And virtually the same names are also there. So it's not very confusing for even beginners who are going to start using technology. The icon that you saw was that capital A sort of icon, which indicates text settings. If you go back, Sanjog, can you go back to the page and just show the icon? Where
Theme. Indian art and culture for civil services and other competitive
is the icon on the top, in the middle?
Top right corner.
Yeah. And it says text settings when you're using a screen reader, but it looks like a capital A, as normally it denotes your text settings.
I can magnify it.
Sure.
Magnification 606%.
Yeah, that's the button.
Good.
Magnification off.
Thank you. So when we talk about reading, and I said Bookshare, so obviously we're going to ask that what is Bookshare? I explained to you, but we're just going to give you a quick glance of Bookshare and the list of categories and the number of books that each category has. So Sanjog, can you go back and show us Bookshare and the category list, please? Thank you.
I also had opened the Amazon thing which we were talking about.
Sure, you can highlight that screen reader option for people to understand what we were talking about and then quickly go to Bookshare.
Each mode top.
Yep.
Banner landmark navigation, main landmark click.
So there is this one sample book available on Amazon, and even Amazon, few books they have started to make accessible. And you can check whether the book is accessible or not by going to this option.
Follow the World War. Inside you will about the product details heading level 2.
So whenever you choose a book on Amazon, there is this heading called product details. If you'll scroll down.
List with 11 items ASIN, language, file size, simultaneous, text to speech, enabled.
So there is this first option called text to speech, which is enabled in this case. So a person with learning disability can use the read aloud features as shown in Thorium Reader and Easy Reader in this book as well. And
screen reader supported.
Screen reader is also supported. So a person like me, who is a totally blind person, can also read this book. So these are the two things that you will have to check before buying the book from Amazon in the Kindle format. Okay, so let me quickly jump to Bookshare.
Enter read, save to pocket, World War I. Collapsed. Selection. Navigate. Collapse. Enter reader view button. Save to pocket. Fire. World War I button. 4.
Just hold on. Where is my bookmarks toolbar? Vanished.
Library. Tree view. Bookmarks menu collapse. Other bookmarks. Level 3 Dell 13 of other websites. Microsoft apps 10 of 13. Amazon. CapB. Level. Other resources. GitHub 6 of 13. Access. Benetech. Bookshare 2 of 13 level 3. Tree view. Language 8. Freely available. Bookshare membership form. Browse by category HTTPS. Mozilla Firefox. New tab. Button personalize new tab.
Yep. Here it is. So I'm on the Bookshare page. And a list of categories can be seen here. So
if you can scroll, if you can scroll this page to show all the categories, and the numbers that you see against each category is the number of books available under each of these categories on Bookshare.
So it is visible on the screen.
Is the entire category list visible? Rina, can you confirm?
Yes, it is.
Great.
So, Homiyar, just a quick question in between. Can we take some questions?
Yes, we'll start taking questions now because we have covered almost everything that needs to be explained. Now I can go into detail as required.
Okay, because there are some people who have raised their hands.
Sure.
Let me know when you want to answer this.
Go ahead with the unmuting one by one.
Oh, okay. So, the first one that I saw earlier was Mridula. Mridula, do you still have the question?
Yes, I do. I just want to say that my daughter has been using Bookshare since when they first came to India, maybe about 6-7 years ago. And I just want to tell other participants that it has been a game changer for her because she's dyslexic. And not only is she able to read her textbooks, all the NIOS books are available, all your CBSE, all textbooks are available. But she started reading for pleasure. See, now that is amazing, right? For a person to be able to read for pleasure. So she's also reading for pleasure. So I think without hesitation, you must use Bookshare. I really vouch for it. I'm a parent whose daughter has been using it. And because of Bookshare now, she's also using Audible. And Bookshare is way cheaper than, and also more, it has got more number of books because it's not a commercial product, so to speak. So it is supported by foundations. So everything is available on it. And also you can read books for pleasure. I just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Mridula, for your endorsement. Thank you so much. It's not cheaper, it's absolutely free. I would add to that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mridula. There was Ritvik who had raised his hand. Ritvik, do you still have a question?
Hi, this is Ashwini, Ritvik's mother.
Oh, okay.
So, I understand that this is available for books. How about any web pages or anything like recipes, all of that? Can it be read? Generally, if you open a web page, right, there's so many ad content. Will it also read them? Then they will not be able to differentiate, right? That is what is my question. Because generally, if I read, there's so much of ad content, I exclude it and I read it. But
Correct.
how do we help?
So the technology,
both?
yes, it's there. It does allow you to customize how you read, and it allows you to also jump between sections on the web page. It's a matter of learning how to do it, and that comes under the training part. So you can definitely navigate around a web page, even if you can see the screen, as in case of a learning disabled, or in case of Sanjog or me, even if you can't see the screen, if you know the correct key commands or where to click, it will automatically take you to the concerned area and you will be able to read it very easily. There are also applications available for reading web content, which will just read out to you the same way all web content. So even applications are available for that. There are Google options where you can simplify the page. So that option is generally available on the bottom of the page. If you're using Chrome on your Android phones, you just click on that and it will put the page in a simplified view. So that will make it less of clutter, easy to see for persons with learning disability. So all this can be covered, as I said, when we start doing detailed training, hands-on training for users.
Sure.
Good question.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Uthira.
Like for exams and all, are there any helpful tools or anything?
Yes, that is one part which was remaining in my presentation. So let me cover it at this point and then I'll go back to answering questions. This was reading, but reading has to be hand in hand with writing. And when we start using this technology, it also gives you a lot of options for writing, and not just simple textual based writing, but even if you are a science student, if you want to write higher grade maths, science, equations. Everything is possible using this technology. And there are rules under UGC, there are rules under NCERT, CBSE, where you can use technology. If you're a person with learning disability, you are allowed to use computers to write your own exams if you have a reading barrier. Sanjog, can you quickly demonstrate how easy it is to write and type using technology on this computer?
Okay. So
Category.
the most basic tools are basically used for writing. So as everyone might know, there is something called Microsoft Word, which comes inbuilt in most of the computers. So let me open Word quickly.
Taskbar. Word. Home grouping. Good afternoon. New grouping.
Yep.
Document page 1 blank.
So it is just Microsoft Word, which everyone uses. The same Microsoft Word can be used by persons with print disabilities. So here we can type anything.
Area of a circle.
So I have written area of a circle, and in the next line, I can even add the formula, write the equation as well.
Blank. Selected. Cap A, backslash, pi, R, caret, 2. Cap A equals italic pi R squared.
Right? Capital A equal to pi R square. That's the formula for area of a circle. So we can write, in fact, any equation from simple to complex in Microsoft Word, and we can write text as well. And at the same time, we can read it also. The same read aloud features that were present in Thorium Reader as well as Easy Reader are also present in Microsoft Word.
Can you quickly show that option? If you can open some other Word document and show the read aloud function.
Okay, I have just written 2 lines.
Yeah. Can you add one more line and just show the read aloud?
Okay. What should I write?
This is a demonstration, just write that.
F, H, cap T, the spit. Area of a circle.
Area of a circle. Cap A equals pi R squared. This is a demonstration.
Good. So we hope we have answered your question. I don't remember who was the person who asked that. Well, yeah, good.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
I'm just requesting Mr. Sanjog, can you speak a little louder? I'm not catching everything.
Okay. So what Sanjog said was you can easily type and you can type it using Microsoft Word. And Word is available with almost all your laptops, desktops, even it is available on your smartphones.
Yeah.
And you can also use the read aloud functionality built within the newer versions of Microsoft Office and read whatever you have written.
Okay.
And get an understanding of how you did it properly or not. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question?
Yes, there are two more hands.
Good.
Nishu, Ashwini, if you can lower your hand, please, or unless you have another question.
Yeah, just wanted to add on to this. There is another thing which we can use for all of this. It is called OneNote on Microsoft. And this OneNote can be downloaded free of cost. I've been using this for my kids for a very long time now. And, it has this option also. When you speak to it, it writes it down for you also. So it works very well for the special kids, especially the kids with learning disabilities. When they're not able to read, they're not able to write, this app really helps. So downloading this OneNote would do wonders for these kids.
Thank you. And even that is available for your smartphones. The same feature, same OneNote is there.
All right. Thank you, Nishu. David?
Yes, good morning. I would like to understand how assistive technology can help a student with the print disability to be able to read the question paper in an examination hall, because question papers are not given out in advance and they are given out in print.
Great. So is this question in reference to a visually impaired user or a learning disabled user?
A learning disabled user.
Learning disabled user, correct. So there has to be certain accommodations to be added to this entire process. And we are currently working with CBSE to allow this accommodation. And the accommodation is pretty simple. When the question paper or the folder or the envelope containing this question papers is opened by the controller or the center head, you can use certain simple apps available to you on your smartphone, such as Google Lens. And the moment you do that, you can immediately scan the entire question paper and transfer it into Microsoft Word on the computer, which is having or running the same ID, which is there on your smartphone. So if your smartphone has your email ID as reenagupta@gmail.com and your desktop, which has been connected on the same area, network, which has also got reenagupta@gmail.com, the moment you scan your paper with Google Lens on your smartphone, it will immediately be transferred to your desktop as an accessible Word copy. It will automatically get pasted in Microsoft Word. And then from that point, you can start answering your question either in Microsoft Word at the end of the paper. You can just give a print command from your desktop, print the paper and submit it. Does it answer your question, David?
No, but usually we get a reader for the student to read the question paper for them. So how will they get the question paper read out to them?
That's what I said. Once you have it in Microsoft Word, you can read the paper using your read aloud functionality. It's a question of a 5-second job. And I'm not exaggerating. It's exactly 5 seconds that you can convert that inaccessible printed paper, send to Microsoft Word, and then, as Sanjog demonstrated right now, use the read aloud functionality in Microsoft Word to read the entire question paper and then answer the questions as per his or her convenience.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And at the university level or the college level, so that happened with me personally. The college was aware enough to provide me the question paper directly in Microsoft Word. So in that case, even that 5 seconds are not wasted. So yeah.
So Ashoka University and the disability cell can be a catalyst in this entire thing, where Reena, if you can find a way of getting these guidelines implemented or these workflows implemented, it can be brilliant. Even we have suggested in certain cases that the envelope containing the sealed envelope containing the question papers has also a flash drive which has been placed in that envelope, which contains an accessible version of the question paper. So it's a matter of just copy pasting the same question paper onto each computer once you open that packet, the sealed packet, which comes directly from the examination center. So there's no question of redoing anything. So there are lots of ways in which you can adopt things. It's just a question of changing the mindset from inaccessibility to accessibility, from non-inclusion to inclusion. Any other questions?
Is there any other question from anyone? Naman? Naman, you may unmute and ask.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
So, not only Google Lens, I'll suggest using of iSTEM application. It was launched in the month of March last week. It has many features like scanning documents or OCR, and they convert tables in accessible format properly. They assign headings to like level 1, 2, 3, 4, and all. It's a
Naman,
nice
can you be a little
application to
louder? Naman, a little louder.
I'll repeat
Hello.
what he said. I'll add on to it and repeat. Yes, thank you, Naman, for bringing up that point of iSTEM. iSTEM is an application which was designed primarily for making STEM inclusive. And it's an application which can scan any printed page, including STEM, and convert it into accessible form. But there are other applications also similar to iSTEM called, it can be Kibo, Kibo, or Envision AI, or Google Lens. Some are paid, some are free. So there's a lot of variety of these applications.
Sir, I agree with Kibo and all, but iSTEM provides these, just scans the text and all that thing. But iSTEM will convert them into accessible format with heading levels.
Agreed. But when we talk about options, we generally provide options.
And currently, I heard that they are working towards scanning the graphics and giving all text to them.
Yes. So technology is there, right?
Great.
Thank you, Naman.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Naman, for talking about iSTEM here. Anybody else? Any other question? Sanjog, if there's nothing else for you to share, can you stop sharing the screen? Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so we have Homiyar here for 5 more minutes. Please make the best use of this opportunity. Yes, Manju.
So this is all fairly new and it's really revolutionary to me to learn this. So thank you so much. I actually closed my eyes for a few minutes because I never realized how difficult it might be, you know, to experience and how to use this. So I just wanted to get a feel and I shut my eyes while listening to Homan sir, and I like his voice and I wish we could use his voice in this assistive technology.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, I just want to say, see, normally for our students, when they have exams and board exams, we apply to CBSE and we get the exemptions for them and reader, scribe, time, etc., which we need to support them in the exam. But like using this technology, so will we be able to use it in school for any children, and only supporting should be a disability certificate?
Yes.
I see.
In fact, we are promoting the use of technology even at grade 1 level, because technology is technology. It's how you use it is important. And it begins, as I said earlier, with acceptance of your disability. So the earlier you accept your condition, parents as well as teachers, the child will freely be able to start using this technology and he will grow with technology. So he doesn't have to struggle in the mainstream class. He shouldn't be put at shame. Generally, when teachers are unable to identify his disability, most learning disabled children are categorized as and labeled. I don't want to use those words.
Yeah.
But it's a shameful environment.
Yeah.
But if the child is identified, given proper guidance, the parents are counseled properly, and the proper technology is given in the hands of this child, immediately he'll be able to integrate himself into the mainstream classroom. And it becomes so easy for the mainstream teacher to include this child into his or her teaching. So that is where we strongly advocate using technology for all print disabled, blind, low vision, or learning disabled, or children with special needs like cerebral palsy, or those with having orthopedically challenge in their hands, especially.
So if they get accustomed to using it, sir, then in the exams also the same process
continues.
will just continue. So
see, what we are evaluating is the knowledge of the child and not how the child writes, right? If he writes or types it on a computer, or if he writes it using his paper and pen, it's ultimately you're understanding what has the child understood. The same thing applies even for evaluating methods. Why should every child be forced to write something? You can do oral evaluations initially when the child is very young, and if he has got inability to write, does not mean the child does not understand. So these are the things that we are pushing through. It will take time. Change is always painful and time consuming. Not everybody agrees to it immediately, but then there is light at the end of the tunnel. We are seeing change, especially in larger cities, especially in organizations who have evolved, who have accepted technology. We are seeing change. It's a matter of now spreading this awareness, getting more people involved. As earlier somebody said, still there's a lot to be done when it comes to awareness. So let's spread this. Sanjog, can you share our details? Can you share our membership details, contact numbers of our helpline,
Yes.
everything? Yeah, please.
I'm sharing in the chat.
Yeah, please.
Okay, Rajeshwari.
Yeah, here, sir, I would like to share a few, like 1-2 experiences when it comes to assistive technology devices. It's been, 5 years of time in the CBSE board. They asked our students, they can use the computers for their mathematical calculations. But yet I would like to inform that it's just on the papers, it's not come into the practicality. Though we make certain rules in the system, but we are finding it very, very difficult when it comes to implementation. So this is such a great help for our students with learning disabilities or visual impairment. But still we are stuck at one point where we are not being able to give our hand to the children, where it's more supportive. So it sometimes, feel so dejected that we are not being able to do that, fulfilling the gap where the child can be able to excel to himself. As you have said that we can take an oral test, not insisting on writing skill. But here, though we do certain things in the school level, but when it comes to the board, definitely the child had to struggle to come over all the difficulties and come to, from his class 10th. Certain difficulties are still there, sir. We are struggling as special educators. Just wanted to share this.
I agree. And the answer to that, Rajeshwari, we have seen this. I have been involved in the system. I have been in this system for the past 35 plus years now.
Yeah.
So the answer is, don't wait for the exam date to do all this. Start when the child is admitted to the 10th standard, 12th standard.
Yes.
Start approaching the CBSE board. Start approaching your center heads. Your institution head has to communicate with CBSE, because this is a very different field. Nobody understands all this.
Nobody
you
understands.
Understand it because you're a special educator.
Yes.
Parents understand it because the child is print disabled. But those babus sitting there, they have nothing to gain out of all this. So for them, it is a matter of sensitizing them, approaching them well in advance, give them all the circulars, put it in their hands, show it to them, highlight all those points which we are focusing on, and put it on their records. Get a confirmed copy in writing that you have given it to them. All these things need to be done, and still approach the exam center head 3 days in advance before the exams. Put it again in front of him that, see, all these rules are there, and then pray to God that he understands.
And the latest thing, one thing I would like to put forward to you, the CBSE is not accepting the children given exemptions for children who are having an IQ of 85 and above, because they are not considered. And they are looking at the VMS score, where the children with mental retardation and mental illness only are eligible for the exemptions. This is the latest one, which was struggling from past 2 years to get exemptions for our children with specific learning disability.
So the best thing is approach the Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities
office. Sir. Yeah, it's been done. Yeah,
and follow it up with him.
It's going on,
Yes, and you can approach people like T.D. Dharyal, who was the former Commissioner for Persons with Disability. He is currently the President of NAB Delhi, RK Sector 5.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable person, and he'll be able to guide you and frame up your arguments with the Commissioner. And he will also be able to use his name and influence and push these things further. We need to do a lot of advocacy. We cannot give it up.
Yeah, sure. Right? Thank you very much, sir.
Hope to join forces. If one Rajeshwari speaks, nobody's going to listen. But if 10 of you speak together, organizations raise the same issue together, it will make a difference.
We here at Hyderabad had made a group, sir. Actually, we are working towards it. CBSE.
Okay, Rajeshwari, if I may please say it here. Can we please? Yeah. So I think we'll have to move to the next.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajeshwari. Homiyar, we have, though we have 4 more hands, but our next speaker, it's already time. We have to move to the next presentation. Is that okay if we?
Thank you so much. And if there are any questions from any of your participants, feel free to write to us. Sanjog has shared the details. Please communicate with us directly or through Rena's office. We'll be more than happy to support. Right. Thank you so much for inviting. It was great interacting.
Thank you so much, Homiyar. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you,